There we go. We are live. Welcome to Linus Tech Tips. No, I'm kidding. I watched the Wayne show. Anyway, so hi there. Welcome to our presentation on the Ohio Cyber Range, and we're going to focus a little bit on some of the cyber exercises we do with the Ohio Cyber Range, particular CTFs. But we're going to give you a little bit of overview. First off, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Ryan Moore. I'm a faculty member in the School of IT here at the University of Cincinnati. I also work as the lead educator for the Ohio Cyber Range Institute, which is also housed here at UC in a partnership with the Colleges of Applied Engineering and Applied Sciences and the McMicken College of Arts and Sciences in the Political Science Department. I have with me Sam. Sam, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Sam Bricking. I'm the system administrator for the OCRI. I deal with all the technical stuff for the setup, the implementation, and the deployment of anything involving the OCR, the Ohio Cyber Range.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'll hear us say OCR quite a bit, which is just an acronym for the Ohio Cyber Range, and we are part of the Ohio Cyber Range Institute. So let's get into a little bit about what the Ohio Cyber Range is, just so you get an idea of what we are. So our mission at the Ohio Cyber Range Institute is to help improve cybersecurity throughout Ohio. And we do this through a range of different learning and teaching tools for both students and educators at many different levels. We work with K through 12. We do a lot with high schools and getting IT and cybersecurity education into high school programs. We work a lot with college programs at the collegiate level. We also work with workforce development, and we also work with incident response teams, such as the Ohio National Guard's new Cyber Reserve team. So we do trainings and exercises with them as well. And one of the things we do is we do other different types of cyber exercises, one of them being a capture the flag kind of competitions we'll get into a little bit more. So just to give you kind of an overview of what the Ohio Cyber Range is and how it's kind of spread out throughout the state. It's a completely state-funded program. The Ohio Cyber Range Institute itself, which is the kind of administrative arm of this whole thing, is housed here at the University of Cincinnati. We have partners at the University of Akron who host one of our core services sites, which Sam will talk a little bit about here in a moment. That is where the hardware, the data center lives. So it lives at Akron and the University of Cincinnati. And then we have partners around the state that are designated as OCRI regional programming centers. Right now we have 5 that are officially designated: the University of Dayton, Ohio State University, Ohio University, and the University of Akron, as well as UC. And we are accepting applications for new regional programming centers. So what do all these pieces do? Well, the Institute, like I mentioned earlier, is housed at UC, and this is the administrative arm. We kind of take care of coordination and promotion of the Ohio Cyber Range itself. We help with developing and reviewing educational materials that people submit. We work with industry engagement. We help run cyber exercises such as the CTF. We share all the content throughout the whole network of the Ohio Cyber Range with everybody through one central location. The core services sites, again, that's the Range data centers. That's where the hardware lives. That's what drives the infrastructure behind the Ohio Cyber Range, and those live at Cincinnati and Akron. And then we have these OCRI RPCs, which do instruction, they do collaboration, do curriculum development, they partners with industries in their regions, they do programs and stuff like that. And of course, it's all connected through the ORNet high-speed backbone network. So, Sam, you want to give us a little overview of the infrastructure there?
Yeah, so all of our infrastructure is located in Cincinnati at UC, and then the rest of it's located up in Akron. So they're kind of, opposite geographical locations within the state of Ohio. But all our hardware runs VMware. So if you're not super familiar with virtualization, they're a pretty big name. And a lot of what it does is it you have your physical servers, and it can virtualize entire office networks, everything from your endpoints, so your personal computers, and then it also virtualizes your servers, so you can run any kind of file servers, DHCP, DNS, email, but most people do Office 365 now. and then your actual like hardware networking with with NSX. So I guess currently virtual routers, entire network within that's virtualized on our hardware. We have a current goal of about 15,000 VMs, and that's kind of just going to be with our hardware in our data centers. The bigger overall goal would be to have multiple hundreds of thousands of VMs, and we plan on implementing more cloud-based services. So you can use Microsoft's Azure or Amazon Web Services as endpoints. So, we're deploying everything locally at our data centers, but eventually we plan on deploying to the cloud. And that's kind of a broad overview of everything. I know in our cases, a lot of times we use it to run the capture the flag events, which we'll do a short demo of later. But it's all really cool stuff. It's been my biggest interest since I've entered the field of IT.
I think, yeah, that's a lot of hardware, a lot of VMs there that we can use to create, virtual networks and do kind of all kinds of stuff. So you might actually have used, the Ohio Cyber Range in your classes. If you are a student here at UC, you might have had your professors refer to it as the CEC Sandbox, because it started off as a senior design project from one of our students actually back in 2013, and it's kind of blown up now, and it's getting even bigger. So let's talk a little bit about capture the flags. So if you're not familiar with that term, I know I find a lot of people are, but I'm assuming this group has been exposed to capture flags. Basically a competition where you try to solve problems and challenges to find pieces of information and to score points. So that's what a capture the flag is. And we have this thing that we call powered by OCR capture the flag. So what we've done is we've taken the capture the flag experience that you need to set up and put together if you want to run one of these events yourself, and packaged it up and made it easier for people to run capture the flag events. And it's also customizable to each particular event or group that wants to put one of these on. So currently we have about 100 different challenges in our library. These challenges vary in complexity and difficulty and the types of challenge. We have forensic challenges, exploit challenges, encryption challenges, decode, encode, all kinds of things there. We have some simpler trivia challenges as well. And these can be used for a variety of different interest levels. Like we've done challenges for high schools at the beginner level to get people interested, some more intermediate college student level challenges as well. So just kind of everything you need challenge-wise. We have a customizable scoreboard that we use CTFD. So if you've done a capture the flag before, you might be familiar with that platform. It's an open source scoreboard challenge delivery platform that we use, and we can customize it to fit your logos and your needs and add the challenges you want there. Then on top of that, with the challenges and the scoreboard, we use the infrastructure for the Ohio Cyber Range that Sam was just talking about to have an isolated network that contains all the challenge VMs and a Kali attack VM. So that way you can go ahead and have everything you need all accessible through just a browser and an internet connection. And of course, it's customizable. So if you're interested in putting on one of these things and you have some challenges that you want to add to it, we love to put those things in there, and hopefully you let us use them again in the future for other people as well. That's one of the ways we actually build such a large library of challenges is every time we do one of these, the people we work with will donate the challenges that they come up with as well. So another great thing about this idea is it's accessible anywhere. Again, you just need a web browser and an internet connection, and Sam's going to show you kind of how that works. So you can run remote virtual events, which has been very helpful right about now. I know I've been to CTF competitions in the past where they actually have a physical server that's running everything with a Wi-Fi network, and everybody's got a VPN into it, and you got to put that someplace. This, all you need is a web browser. So there's no special equipment. So you can do things for, it's great for, if you're trying to do an event to promote cybersecurity to high school students or something along those lines, they don't need to have a special Kali Linux machine that they can use to get into here. We give them that. We give them everything they need to participate. We also provide support. We have a great infrastructure team that includes Sam and quite a few others that will help support you day of for technical issues. We have people that will help with the organization and setting up of the event, so we can help you plan it if you need help planning it, or we can sit back and just supply everything that you need. We have documentation, instructions, presentations, and of course after action support too, so we can get the information out of the CTFD and deliver that to you. And we can also do surveys and stuff like that to get more information so you can learn from each experience. And I'm sure you're asking, who can request a CTF? Well, basically, we're funded by the state of Ohio, so any Ohio-based organization can request one. If you're a student group based in Ohio, you can request one. And of course, Ohio educators or professors, high school teachers, your professor at whatever college you're at in the state of Ohio can request use of this, not just for the capture the flag, but other services and learning tools we have as well. So I'll hand it over to Sam real quick here and let him share his screen with you to do a quick little demo of what this environment would look like.
Okay, so this is the Kali Linux system. It's a VM running on the OCR's environment. This is just opened up through a web browser. There's nothing special. If you have a device that can open a web browser, you could do this on your phone if you really wanted to. Luckily, I have a nice 27-inch monitor, so that helps a little bit. So one example of a challenge is, kind of brute forcing my way into another system. So I've already run a port scan, and you can see I've got a few open ports here on different systems. And a lot of these have 22, so SSH open. So what I'm going to do here is try to brute force my way into this one here. So just running like the SSH command, it's asking me for root's password. So I don't know what root password is. Let's try root. Permission denied. Let's try password. Permission denied. So this is just me kind of trying to brute force my way in, but let's try something a little different. Maybe there's a different user on here. So let's see. Let's try that. Somebody made an admin account and set their password to admin. I know a lot of routers used to do that, and that was always fun, going to somebody's house, logging into their network and changing all their stuff using the default password. So I got logged into a user, and since this is Linux, I just did an ls to view what's in my home folder, and I see that there's that first flag there. So if I open this flag, I can see that there is a password there, and that would be the answer to the first challenge for an example CTF. So I skipped a few of the starter steps there. I already did the port scan to save time. I could see that this had an SSH port open. So going in and just kind of taking a stab at different passwords. So another example of a challenge I wanted to do would be to decode this. So this is just a random string of characters to most people, but in this case, it was encoded with a base64 encoder. So there's tools that you can download. I think Kali might have one built in, but in my case, I just did a Google search for a base64 decoder. So I can copy my message here. And let's see what message I have for us. since it's October, we got Casper the Friendly Ghost. So I guess in a normal CTF, that would be your answer. So we would have the CTFD site running. You would take your answer that you got from these challenges, put it in there, you get your points, and hopefully lead your team to victory. There's a lot more. I guess you can set up anything as a challenge. These were just some really basic, quick ones I could do to kind of show what you can do. I mean, everything is, it's basically up to your imagination, right, Ryan? Like a challenge can be anything.
Yep. So we have like I said, we have about 100 different challenges, or some of the. It's just a couple simple examples we have here. We have other ones as well that are similar. Some of them involve you downloading a file and using some tools to go through it, and using one of them is like you actually use an image from an old router, and you got to find the password from it, and use binwalk to get through it. So lots of different stuff like that. We're actually putting together a nice documentation of all the challenges. We have them all in Word documents and stuff like that, but we're putting together kind of a database for that right now. And of course, you can add your own challenges. This environment, those systems that he found in that port scan, they're virtual machines that are on this isolated network. So we can add new virtual machines there. We can do things with like Docker containers if your challenges involve a Docker container, all kinds of fun stuff with that.
Yeah, so the possibilities are kind of limited to your imagination. I mean, there's image decoding. You can, I mean, that system that I brute forced my way into, like I just found that one file on there. There could be loads of things on there. I know one of the other challenges is to get in, steal the shadow file within the Linux system and get into that and get all the other passwords for different users. So there's a lot you can do with this, and it's a lot of fun just going through the challenges and kind of figuring them out for yourself and using your IT skills and hacker skills. Kali helps a lot because it has a lot of the tools you need pre-installed.
Thank you, Sam. Chloe, would you mind switching back over to my screen real quick? Thank you. All right. So that's just kind of a taste of what the CTF. We actually have some other games and challenges and contests coming down the pipeline. We've got this one called iWars, which is kind of like a strategy war game that you play with. You build up your army, attack other people, and that's how you play the regular game. But underneath it, there's intentional exploits that you can take advantage of in the scoreboard system of that. And if you can find those, you can get even more points. So it's kind of a game within a game. It's kind of cool. And we got some works on some red team, blue team contests. We're working with Skills USA to do an Ohio contest for high school students and career tech schools, and hopefully bring that to a national level as well. So all kinds of things in the pipeline to keep a lookout for. So you might be wondering, how can you get involved? Well, first, if you are at an education institute in Ohio, tell your professor about it. Have them check it out. Some of them may be already using it or may know about it. They can help you put together a request to get a capture the flag going, or if you have a student group that you'd like to put together an event, you can reach out to us via our website to put in a request or ask for more information, which I've got posted here. It's ohiocyberrangeinstitute.org. So you can visit that. You might want to look out for upcoming events and opportunities either on our website, or you can follow the School of IT social media accounts at UC_SOIT. We actually have something that should be announced next week about a cybersecurity boot camp that will be available to students. That's going to be an exciting opportunity. It's going to be not for the faint of heart, but you might be able to get vouchers for Security Plus and Net Plus from CompTIA. And of course, if you're a UC student and you're looking for a co-op and like to get involved, we do hire co-ops every semester. So check PAL. We will post the opportunities up there for any co-op opportunities with the Ohio Cyber Range Institute. So we'll stop there and open it up to questions. So if you have any questions, you can pop it into the chat comments area there, And we're on about a 10-second delay. So if I sit here for 10 seconds and not say anything, it's because I might be reading the comments and you're just waiting to get to me. But we do have a question from Dev. Is there a way we could just play some of these challenges without have someone request an entire CTF? Unfortunately, no, we don't have it set up like Hack the Box where it's available to anyone at any time. We just do these as kind of an event type basis. So if we don't, basically no, sorry, we don't have that ability right now. Although we will in the future, it's on our roadmap to have self-service portal where you can go through, not necessarily capture the flag challenges, but educational modules and do some self-learning with some hands-on skills, that kind of thing. It's on our roadmap to get there someday. We're just not there yet.
Yeah, that's definitely more a down the line kind of thing when we have the hardware and to kind of support just any resident of Ohio logging in and setting up, setting up their own VMs. I don't think I had talked about that earlier. So the main part of our the way our system works is the vRealize orchestration. So it's basically a simplified VMware portal where you log in and you have access to different kinds of, deployments, and you can request your own deployment. And if once that's approved, it goes through, it creates your VMs, and then you can log on to them through that portal.
We got a question here. Is it just CTF or do you guys offer other services? CTF is only a small slice of what the Ohio Cyber Range does. One of our biggest things that we do is we offer this virtual environment to basically anybody who wants to run a class or a program in the state of Ohio. So we use a lot of School of IT teachers use this because it was born out of the School of IT, but we also support, I don't know how many, probably around 20 high schools now. We have many different colleges. I know Kent State runs some programs out of here. I know, no, not Malone University, but, I can't think of the other one. I know OSU uses it a little bit, and a few others. Sinclair College is another one. So we're growing that base out of people who are in here. We also do cyber exercises and training with the Ohio National Guard's Cyber Reserves. We develop content for classes and distribute that through the regional programs as well. We also do industry partnerships, all kinds of things. We did a boot camp that I mentioned earlier over the summer. So there's a lot of different programs coming out of the Ohio Cyber Range. Dev asks, what kind of co-op opportunities do you guys offer? Well, basically, our co-ops is a kind of a jack of all trades kind of position, I'd almost say right now. They are technically part of our infrastructure team, so they do help with support of the infrastructure itself, but we like to get them involved in just about everything. So they help us run, a couple of our co-ops will be helping us run our next boot camp, which will be taking place on October 19th, acting as TAs. They'll help, Sam and his team working on the infrastructure, doing updates, support tickets, those kinds of things. They might get involved in helping develop some of the content. And we actually kind of give the co-ops kind of, hey, what are you interested in working on, and try to gear it towards them. Because, we are, an education institute. We want you to learn. So we want to tailor that experience around you. When is the next cybersecurity boot camp, and what does it cost for UC students? The next one that we have scheduled, and it hasn't been officially announced yet, so don't quote me on this because it could change, but it's supposed to take off on October 19th, and supposed to be registration open, I believe, next week, if I'm not mistaken. So keep your eyes there. What will the cost be? If you're an Ohio resident, it will cost nothing. It will be free to any Ohio resident. There will be a small cost for non-Ohio residents just because it's funded by Ohio government money. It's going to be funded by Jobs Ohio. Now, one thing I'll note is It's an intensive boot camp, and it is the next one is going to be taking place in the middle of the semester. So if you're taking classes, it may not be the right time to take it. This one's kind of geared towards unemployed and underemployed people in the state of Ohio, since a lot of people lost their jobs during COVID. You're still welcome to sign up for it. We're not saying that you can't do it. We had some students go through the one that we did over the summer. I'm just saying it's going to be intensive. It's going to be like 6 to 8 hours worth of work a day, on top of if you work or you're taking regular classes as well. So just be aware of that. It's not for the faint of heart. Of course, it doesn't cost anything. So if you get into it and you can't find the time for it, it doesn't hurt to just drop it, and take it again another time. We will be offering more of those, many more, not just through the Ohio Cyber Range Institute, but all of our regional programming centers will be offering those as well. All right. You mentioned you were working on using cloud services. Does that mean you're also looking for cloud practitioners?
I'll take care of that. It's a while down the line kind of thing. It's like I said, we're currently supporting up to 5,000 concurrent VMs with just our on-site hardware. And the current goal is to get that to 15,000 VMs. And once we're at that point is when we'll probably look at AWS and like Azure as endpoints. But that's a few years down the line.
Yep. And that'll be kind of more of a cloud bursting kind of thing, or are we going to go completely to the cloud down the line? Because I know that could get expensive.
Yeah, that is very true.
All right. Tyler asks, how long is the boot camp? The one that we're planning upcoming is going to be, it's actually going to be 2 boot camps that we're going to run simultaneously that are 4 weeks long. So one of them will focus, will be aligned, I should say, with the Network Plus certificate, and the other one will be aligned with the Security Plus certificate. They will be 4 weeks long each, with kind of an introductory week, because we designed these to give people who don't have much or any IT background, we give them a week to kind of ramp up into the Network Plus or Security Plus material, and then it gets really, really intense. If you have a background in that, the first week would be a little bit easier because it's kind of introducing you to, basic operating system stuff, basic networking concepts, basic IT fundamentals types of stuff, just to kind of get people on the same page. Those will be 4 weeks. We will probably have varying lengths of boot camps as we go. The one we did over the summer was 6 weeks with both certificates involved. And that was a lot of work for the people who went through it. It was literally 40 hours a week plus for those that went through that one. So we're splitting it up a little bit, making it a little bit longer. And we'll probably do some ones that are stretched out a little bit longer in the future as well. So if you are a student, you're working full time, you can take this and do it in the evening rather than spending half your day doing it. Dev asks, I thought cloud is supposed to be less expensive compared to on-prem. Nope.
For web apps, it can work really well because it's really cheap for that. But for full virtualization like we're doing, no, not at the scale we're looking at.
That's actually one of the biggest misnomers about the cloud is that it's cheaper. It's just cost in a different place,
mm-hmm.
right? Rather than
it's kind of spread out too.
Capital, you're paying operating expenses rather than capital expenses more than you're just changing where you're putting the money. And if you think about it, the cloud's just somebody else's computer, right? If you want to break it down that simple, but they still need to buy the hardware to run all that stuff. Sure. Somebody like Amazon can buy a lot more hardware at a cheaper price. In fact, I think they make their own nowadays. But there's still capital expense that has to be paid for somewhere along the line.
One more thing, I don't know if you had mentioned it, Ryan, just kind of the difference. Well, so the OCR, the Ohio Cyber Range, is the physical sandbox, whereas the Ohio Cyber Range Institute is the organization that runs it.
Actually, I'm going to correct you a little bit there.
Oh, okay. See, I'm newer than Ryan, so he gets
yeah.
to correct me.
Yeah, he just joined us over the summer. I've been on this since the pilot. So the OCRI is an administrative unit. The Ohio Cyber Range is that administrative unit. The core services sites, that's where the hardware lives, and all those regional programming centers too. Ohio Cyber Range is that whole network of everything. A lot of people will say that the Ohio Cyber Range is the actual virtual range, but we like to think of it as the Ohio Cyber Range is all that together in one package. So I've always said we should call the virtual environment something slightly different, but we can never come up with a good name for it. So
yeah, I guess they're still working on the branding.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, and if you're a UC student, you might know it as the Sandbox because that's what it was originally. It's changed a lot since it was originally developed. I mean, the original Sandbox could support, I think, 250 VMs at a time. It was built on used HP hardware that was already 3 years old when we got it, and it has gone through so many iterations since then. And I used to be in Sam's place a couple of years ago in the early days, and the original Sandbox was thrown together by a couple students, so it was a difficult thing to manage afterwards. I was not one of those students. They wouldn't let me work on it because I wasn't ready to graduate yet.
Well, that's kind of what's cool about the whole range, because it started as a senior project.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I didn't graduate from UC. I kind of wish I did, seeing the cool things like this happening.
Mm-hmm. All right. I don't think if we have any more questions, pop them in here. We'll give you another minute in case there's another question, but I'm sure you might be already off to your next session anyway, because it's already 7:00. But if not, thanks for coming out. We hope you liked it. Check out the website. Again, we're looking for student orgs to run some capture the flag events with in the near future. So let us know if you're interested in that. All right. I guess that will do it. Thank you, Sam, for joining us. Chloe and the rest of the team at the Make UC Hackathon, thank you for inviting us today. We enjoyed our time today.